In today's video, let's look at 10 Disney villains who changed their ways and became good guys by the end of their stories. At number 10, we've got Te Kā, who Moana meets during her mission to return the heart of Te Fiti. She's a big scary volcanic demon who's messing up Moana's island and the ocean, and not much is known about her at first. But Moana learns that she showed up when Maui tried to steal Te Fiti's heart to give humans the power of creation. This didn't go according to plan, and she vanished. Later on, Moana finds out that Te Kā and Te Fiti are actually the same person. She turned into Te Kā when Maui took her heart. So all the crazy things Te Kā was doing weren't just for nothing, it was her way of protecting herself and getting revenge. The moment Moana gives the heart back, she looks normal again and fixes up the ocean and islands. As for any news on the Moana sequel, we don't know much yet, but it seems like Te Fiti's story is all wrapped up. At number 9, we have Mirage, a character initially presented as a key antagonist in The Incredibles before Syndrome is revealed as the true villain. She serves as Syndrome's assistant and plays an essential role in luring Mr. Incredible to No Manison Island with the offer to take down the menacing Omnidroid. She is also believed to have been responsible for attracting numerous other superheroes to the island, where they ultimately faced their demise by the Omnidroid. Despite her loyalty to Syndrome early in the story, she experiences a turning point. Realizing that Syndrome is indifferent towards her, she becomes disillusioned when Mr. Incredible apprehends her, and he shows no concern for her well-being. Syndrome's disregard for Mirage further solidifies his position as one of Pixar's most malevolent villains. However, Mirage redeems herself by releasing Mr. Incredible and assisting him and his family in their escape from the island, turning against Syndrome and his nefarious plans. At number 8, we have Iago, Jafar's avian sidekick in Aladdin. However, don't be fooled by his small size, for he harbors just as much hatred and greed as Jafar. Voiced by Gilbert Gottfried, Iago mirrors Jafar's villainy perfectly, sitting on the sorcerer's shoulder like a devilish conscience. Unlike Jafar's thirst for power, his motives stem from pettiness and personal grudges, evident in his disdain for the Sultan's crackers and his desire for revenge. Despite appearing beyond redemption, he experiences a surprising character shift in the direct-to-video sequel The Return of Jafar. After escaping from the Cave of Wonders, he and Jafar have a disagreement, leading the parrot to seek refuge at the royal palace. Initially intending to manipulate Aladdin, Iago gradually undergoes a transformation and forms a genuine bond with him. In the climactic final battle against Jafar, he makes the ultimate sacrifice, solidifying his transformation and proving that even the most unlikely characters can change for the better. At number 7, we have Anton Ego, the most feared and revered food critic in Paris. He holds immense influence over the culinary scene in the city, with his reviews possessing the power to either elevate or demolish a restaurant's reputation. To the staff at Gusto's, a critique from him could be their ultimate triumph or downfall. While this power alone doesn't make him a villain, Ego demonstrates a tendency to exploit his position, fueled by an elitist and snobbish attitude. This becomes evident in his interaction with Linguini, as he foreshadows a negative review to undermine the young chef's rising success. However, he eventually reveals that he is not as villainous as he seems. Upon tasting Remy's ratatouille, he is transported back to his childhood and reconnects with the love for food that initially drove him to become a critic. This humbling experience leads him to reevaluate his stance and acknowledge the brilliance of Gusto's belief that anyone can cook. Embracing his renewed passion for cuisine, Ego stays to personally compliment the chef, eventually coming around to Gusto's philosophy and evolving as a character in the process. At number 6, we have Amos Slade from The Fox and the Hound, a hunter who owns Copper, the hound dog. Despite Copper's friendship with Todd, a fox, Slade trains Copper to hunt foxes, leading to conflict between the two friends. Ordinarily, he might not be considered a villain, but due to Disney's tendency to humanize animals, his character takes on a more antagonistic role, becoming a tyrant who disrupts the bond between two lifelong friends. This dynamic mirrors the hunter from Bambi, where the character becomes a villain despite engaging in generally accepted behavior. Despite his antagonistic role, He demonstrates compassion when he spares Todd's life after the fox saves him from a bear attack. This act of mercy hints at a softer side to Slade's character and leads to a reconciliation with his neighbor Widow Tweety. Though it remains unclear if this event changes his perspective on hunting, he no longer appears to be the heartless and cruel owner that Copper initially felt the need to escape from. At number 5, we have Emmett Otterton, a pivotal character in Zootopia who initially appears as a missing person reported by his concerned wife. However, as Judy and Nick begin to investigate his disappearance, it becomes evident that Emmett might be involved in some illicit activities. Clues lead them to Mr. Big, Zootopia's most infamous crime boss, and it is later revealed that he attacked one of Mr. Big's drivers in a feral rage. While Emmett is not the only carnivore to exhibit such savage behavior, it is eventually discovered that he is not a true villain in the story. He and the other predators who turned aggressive are victims of night howlers, a mind-altering drug that induces extreme violence. With the real villain revealed to be much more unexpected, Emmett eventually regains his gentle demeanor. It seems unlikely that he will play a significant role in the upcoming Zootopia sequel, scheduled for release in late 2025, given the resolution of his character arc in the first film. At number 4, we have Commander James Norrington, initially introduced as the main antagonist in the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie. However, his character evolves into a more nuanced figure as the story unfolds. By the end of The Curse of the Black Pearl, he comes to terms with the fact that he will never be with Elizabeth Swann, and in a surprising turn, he gives Jack Sparrow a chance to escape before resuming his pursuit as a law enforcer. This marks the beginning of his redemption arc. The introduction of Lord Cutler Beckett in Dead Man's Chest further develops his character. In contrast to Beckett's extreme hatred towards pirates, Norrington becomes a more sympathetic figure. Eventually, he finds himself on the same side as Jack Sparrow and his allies, fighting against a common enemy. In At World's End, Norrington completes his redemption journey with a selfless act of sacrifice. He gives up his own life to ensure the safety of Elizabeth Swann and her crew, demonstrating his transformation from antagonist to hero and earning him the respect and admiration he deserves. At number 3, we have Namari from the Fang tribe, who plays a crucial role in Raya's journey as the princess of the Heart tribe. Their relationship embodies the deep-rooted mistrust that plagues the land of Kumandra, despite their initial meeting as children hinting at a potential friendship. Namari's primary focus lies in expanding the Fang tribe's power rather than battling the Druun, but her priorities shift as the story progresses. Eventually, they come to realize that their ongoing conflict is causing far more harm than either of them anticipated. After Sisu becomes caught in the chaos, and the Druun's destructive power is unleashed, the two adversaries recognize the need to overcome their differences and unite in their efforts to restore the Dragon Gem. In a pivotal moment, Raya demonstrates her faith in Namari by entrusting her with the final piece of the gem, despite knowing that doing so could lead to her own death. At number 2, we have Bruce, the great white shark from Finding Nemo, who initially appears as a potentially terrifying adversary for Marlin and Dory. However, it becomes evident that he has a kind heart. While he may indulge in playful intimidation upon their first encounter, he eventually reveals that he's a reformed predator by leading a support group for fellow sharks who embrace the mantra,
"Fish are friends, not food."
There is a brief moment when his villainous tendencies resurface, triggered by the scent of blood in the water. His predatory nature takes over, causing him to pursue Marlin and Dory relentlessly. Despite this lapse, it's difficult to hold Bruce entirely accountable, as his behavior is a result of his natural instincts as an apex predator, and he's actively working to curb them. By the end of Finding Nemo, he reappears as a content resident of the reef, demonstrating his successful return to a more balanced and peaceful way of life. At number 1, we have the Beast from Beauty and the Beast, a character who exemplifies one of Disney's most compelling redemption arcs. Unlike many Disney classics, where heroes and villains are clearly defined, this movie delves into moral complexity, suggesting that evil stems from one's circumstances rather than being an intrinsic trait. Cursed with a monstrous appearance, the Beast isolates himself from society to avoid judgment and scorn. The tragic backstory of Beauty and the Beast unveils the layers of his character, revealing that his initial beastly demeanor is a facade. Although he kidnaps Belle's father Maurice, and later exchanges him for Belle, these actions are driven by his desire to protect his way of life and maintain the privacy of his castle. Rather than being truly evil, his actions stem from fear and desperation. Over time, the blossoming relationship between him and Belle allows him to regain his true form, highlighting the transformative power of love and compassion.